Picture a place nestled in the hills and entirely surrounded by a green belt where wildlife abounds and there are miles of beautiful blue water coastline. I was there with my friend Jeffrey Lehman, the host of Weekend Explorer, the PBS award-winning travel show.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey Lehman.
From his home base in Southern California, Jeffrey searches the world for travel's best-kept secrets. But some of the world's best-kept sites were close to home, here in Laguna Beach. Laguna Beach is a magical place where the beach and ocean are particularly popular, and you can play all day, or you can find secluded places to stretch out and relax. And if you take the time to look, just look, you can discover surprising new worlds. The coast of Laguna is one of California's marine protected areas, and the people of Laguna are passionate environmentalists, so the aquatic life and habitat that once were endangered now are thriving. You can immerse yourself in this revitalized environment by kayaking, snorkeling, or scuba diving. But my favorite eco-adventure didn't require special skill or equipment. Jeffrey and I only needed sensible shoes to set forth on our tide pool adventure. Tide pools are created and constantly replenished by the waves that rise and fall with the weather and the tides. This wet, rocky ecosystem is home to an amazing variety of plants and animals. Just look.
I wonder what I'll see in the tide pool today. What might crawl by or swim my way? It could be purple, red, orange, brown, or green. There's so much going on in the tide pool scene. I never knew everything was so alive. Even tiny shells have living things inside. I better walk so gently, treat it with care, so the tide pool life will always be there. Pointy urchins, hermit crabs, and sea anemones are my friends I visit when the tide is low. Oh, I think I'll make a wish upon a sea starfish and hope that it comes true.
On our Tidewater adventure, we had the help of an experienced guide, Jan Sattler, a Tidewater docent with the Laguna Ocean Foundation.
So in a typical tide pool in Laguna Beach, you can find lots of hermit crabs, sea anemones, which look somewhat like flowers when they're open with tentacles, and we have a shore crab hiding under the rock and some baby fish called opali.
And you can tell they're opali because of the white dots on their back.
Yeah, they have two little white dots by their dorsal fins.
And the reason the fish come in here, the small ones, is to protect themselves. And I'm only seeing opali here, but there are other fish that come in here as well, right?
We have typically two fish in our tide pools. Tide pool sculpin, which are covered in what looks like camouflage, desert camouflage. And they live their entire life in the tide pools, where the opali, when they get big enough, they go out into the open ocean to finish out their lifespan.
And these sea anemones, we're seeing some shells and rocks and stuff on them, and they're using that as protection, right?
Correct. Some people call it sunscreen, but it's also protection against predators and other
Fish
things.
Coming in.
And then you see this little tiny creature here. This is a chitin, and it's made up of 8 bony plates. And if you find one of those plates, they look like a little miniature butterfly. And that's a very old creature, virtually unchanged for millions of years.
One of the very first creatures in the earth.
And then we also have a rock oyster here. We have mussel shells. In fact, we are standing on mussel shells, and they are live creatures attached to the rocks with byssal threads. And we just hope that all our visitors who come to Laguna Beach walk gently on the mussels. You cannot help but walk on creatures when you come to the tide pools. You walk on barnacles, who are above water during low tide and underwater to feed during high tide.
Well, fantastic. Thank you so much for showing us, Jan.
You're welcome. Thanks.
As part of its mission to preserve and protect the coastal environment, the Laguna Ocean Foundation stations Tidewater docents like Jan at coves, where the tide pools are most vulnerable. They answer questions and spread the word about tide pool preservation. Docents work in close coordination with the Laguna Beach Department of Marine Safety and Laguna's very own Marine Protection Officer, Kella Allison.
Tide pools don't look fragile. They just look like a big clump of rocks. But if you take a closer look, you will see it's a very diverse and unique habitat that's full of life, but life that can be pretty sensitive to human impact. But we can all have our turn to protect this intertidal habitat if we follow the general golden rule of tide pooling, which is look but don't touch. So just be careful never to pick up or remove animals, plants, or rocks, and tread gently because there can be creatures hiding underneath those rocks and plants, and often underneath the shells too. They can be homes for hermit crabs. So enjoy yourself, have a good time out there, and you can help safeguard an entire ecosystem for all to enjoy.
One of the discoveries we made on our tide pool adventure is that children love tide pools, and tide pools are ideal places to help them learn how to explore and protect the environment. The rising tide put a stop to our tide pool adventure for now, but I'll be back. The tide pools of Laguna Beach have many more secrets to reveal. Perhaps I'll see a giant keyhole limpet, or a sea hare, or a wavy-top turban. All I have to do is look. Just look.
Oh, I wonder what I'll see in the tide pool today. What might crawl by or swim my way. It could be purple, red, orange, brown, or green. There's so much going on in the tide pool scene. I never knew everything was so alive. Even tiny shells have living things inside. I better walk so gently, treated with care, so the tide pool life will always be there, treated with care. So the tide pool life will always be there.
Why don't you tell me just a little bit about this one?
This particular tide pool.
Woohoo! That's fun.
Believe
That
it or
happens.
not, the tide is going out. 7 miles, and it's all protected, and it means you look, don't touch. That's real important.
All right, we ready?